Hello, 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 and welcome. I have a super fun energy update for today that I think you are going to love. So, the energies I've really been feeling this week and seeing within people is this push to make bold moves. But I want to qualify, I want to talk about what bold moves really means here because there's a certain specific nuance to what I'm getting, okay? I mean, God, bold moves has been something people have been talking about for a long time, right? Make a bold move, see what happens, right? Blah, blah, blah. So I know it's been talked about to death, but I really want to talk about what the energy is behind it. What it is there something in your life, or I'm actually going to reframe that. What is it in your life that you want to do, you want to have, you want to experience, something you want to change in your life? But you have a condition placed on it, meaning I'm going to do this when, I can do this when, I can have this when. There's something in your life that you have placed a condition on. So you can't quite have it, be it, enjoy it, share it, do something until something happens first. This is what I'm talking about, where you've placed a condition on something in your life. So for instance, you can't take that trip until XYZ has happened. You can't move until XYZ has happened. You can't apply on that job or change jobs until XYZ has happened. Now, I'm going to tell you why that's coming up right now specifically, and why, if you've got something like that in your field right now, in your mind, why you want to take those bold moves forward, okay? Something we do as humans, and we were taught to do this, was to place conditions on things. Okay, this is a human experience. It's not an energetic principle. Okay, that's not how energy works at all. But humans, we do this thing where we decide the conditions to which we can do things. We have this lovely logical linear path about how things work. And the reason we do this, a couple of reasons, is we are trying to control cause and effect. Okay. Cause and effect is real. Okay. It is real. That's an energetic thing. It's 100% real. But what we do as humans is we try to control the cause and effect. We try to control the outcome. And we think somehow if we can do that, we'll be safe, we'll be okay, things will work out all right. But the universe and energetic principles doesn't actually like this conditional way we do things. I'm not going to be able to do this until this happens. I'm not going to be able to have this until this happens. All we really do is we handcuff the universe. We really, really handcuff the universe in a big way. And ironically, what happens is when we do this, I can't do this or have this until this conditional, we never get the thing. We'll never actually do the thing, because what we've done is we've shrunk all the energy down. We've taken all the possibilities and we've just gone whoop. The only way this can happen, the only way I can have this one thing, be this one thing, do this one thing, is if this one thing happens. Think about it. We have decided the exact path. And we were conditioned to be so bloody arrogant to think we can do that. It's conditioning, it's ego. It's like, what makes us think that we can do that? What makes us think that we can actually control the frickin' universe? But God, we try so hard. So right now, the universe is going, hey, 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 hey. Hang on a minute here. What if you took the bold move? What if you did the thing that you really want to do? Now, what happens is when you make that bold move, and actually it's even before you make the move, once you make the decision to make the move, okay? Understand how quantum mechanics works. The moment you decide to make the bold move, everything starts to shift. Energies immediately start to shift. If you could think of it this way, and I used to do this when I first started doing this work. I used to almost hear like the universe talking back to me. So I would make a decision that I'm going to do something that I wouldn't normally do, something unpredictable, like I've changed the pattern somehow. And I used to always hear in my head, oh, from the universe, oh, this is what we're doing now. Because that's what you're doing. You're commanding the field. You're commanding your presence. You're commanding your signal. You're commanding your reality. The moment you make the decision to do something before everything is all lined up perfectly for your human mind to be happy. Now, I'm not saying go do something completely reckless and irresponsible, okay? But there's a big difference between doing something reckless and irresponsible and thinking that everything has to line up the way your human brain thinks it has to, because your human brain does not have access to the quantum field out here that's actually moving things along, okay? I'm going to give you a couple examples. When you hear a couple of big examples when I've done this in my life, and I do this a lot, especially with big decisions. It often happens with the big decisions in life, right? And I'm going to show you how everything shifted once I made the decision. So this is going back to something that happened, gosh, like almost 20 years ago now. So this is when I decided to end my marriage. Okay. So we were living in a big home, the family home. I had two very small kids. And I ended up leaving my corporate job because there was a health challenge with my youngest daughter. So I spent 5 years out of the workforce getting her health back on track and everything, right? So when I asked for a divorce, I didn't have a job. And obviously we want to sell the house, right? It was a giant house, big yard, all the stuff, right? So I'm like, okay, my logical brain went, okay, Andrea, you need to find a job. You need to find a job. My ex-husband wouldn't move out. Another story altogether, but we were in the same house. So this is not a great situation. So like, I've got to get a job, right? Because my logical brain is going, well, Andrew, you want to buy something afterwards. You're going to need a job, obviously. You want to raise your kids. You need stability. Like you need to be stable. So it made so much sense to my logical mind. So I looked and I looked and I looked. Like I looked for months on end. Nothing. It was about 8 months, okay, and nothing. And like I am so qualified. I wasn't even looking for something like the perfect job. I just needed a job because I needed to remove myself from this house and sell the house and set up a new life, right? About 8 months into it, and I went, no, actually it wasn't 8 months, it was a year. Oh my gosh, it was a year. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't care if I can't buy anything else. I don't care if I have to eat mac and cheese for the rest of my life. I don't care. I need to start my own life. And, sometimes you reach that point where we just like, I just can't actually do this anymore. And this was one of the first times I experienced this. Like I said, this is almost 20 years ago. And keep in mind, like I was a CPA, fully qualified. Like I was super qualified, but I was like, couldn't find a job. And I reached the end of my rope. And so I'm like, we're listing the house. I'll do whatever I have to do. If I have to rent, I'll rent. And so we listed the house. And the same week we had the subjects removed. I don't know what you call that in the US, but Canada it's called the subjects, which means the sale's going to go through, right? The week that happened, I got a job. Literally, the same week. Universe lined it all up. And we actually broke a record for resale for a detached house in the community we lived in. So we got more money than anybody else had before. This is when the market was really starting to head up. We broke our record. So we got record amount of sales on it. And I got a job and I moved out. But all of that didn't happen until I'm like, screw this. I'm not waiting to enjoy my life. I am not waiting for everything to line up perfectly for me to have the life that I know I deserve. It wasn't until I made the bold move and the universe went, oh, okay, she's freaking serious. And I landed the job. And it was so easy. I went to the interview. I loved the people. I'm like, this is perfect. One interview, I was offered the job and I took it. Like it was just like that. That's what happens when you place the trust in the universe, in the quantum, in the unknown, in the magic, and you choose yourself. That's what happens. And, I sold that. I actually bought a townhouse. I sold that many years later and made a lot of money on that townhouse. It worked out perfectly for me. It was the perfect place to live. Like everything just lined up. And I actually ended up, the job that I got at the time allowed me to work from home. Single parent, perfect. Like it could not have turned out better is what I'm saying. Like I could not have planned this. And this has happened time and time again. This even happened the last time I moved. So the moving situations are coming up right now. So I suspect there's somebody listening who wants to move, but is waiting for some sort of perfect situation to line up, right? The last time I moved, it was just after my youngest daughter graduated from high school. So I wanted to wait before I moved. I'd wanted to move for years. I wanted to leave the community. It was a giant house. I'd bought a house at this point, giant house, giant backyard. I was so tired of taking care of the house and the yard. And I didn't love the area. I hadn't loved it for a long time, but I stayed because my kids were in school. So she graduated in June, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what my girls are going to do for the next couple of years. I should probably wait because I don't know what to do. Like, what do I buy? Where do I go? I had all these questions, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just stay. I'll just stay for a couple more years until they can kind of sort out their life. And again, my logical brain went, I'm going to wait. Even though I really want to move, I'm going to wait. And it was within a month. I was on a hike, just alone in the forest, walking through the trees. And I heard, I don't know what it was, my guidance, my higher self, who knows? I never know who's talking to me, was, it's time to sell. And I was like, oh boy, that's interesting. I don't think I'm ready to sell. But it was so clear. It's time to sell. And so I did. I got home and I sat my kids down. And I said, we're moving. Like, it's time to sell. I can't wait. And I don't want to go into the whole story again, but like the way everything's gone since then, this was almost 2 years ago now. Everything worked out perfectly. And I actually sold my house before the market came down completely and sales slowed completely. Like, so many things happen when you make that bold move, when you don't decide you want to control the conditions, that you want to control the cause and effect, when you allow the universe to do its magic. Because once you make the move, right? This is how this goes in life. You make the move, the universe makes the move. Like, you got to work in tandem. You can't stand here and wait for the universe to present everything to you. It doesn't work that way. When you do that, you hold everything back because the universe doesn't move. You can't hold still. You can't stand and have all these conditions placed on your joy, on what you really want. So what is it you've been holding on? I know there's something in you. You've been holding this thing inside of you. Like, I want to do this, but I can't do this until. And that means you are placing a condition. It means you are trying to control cause and effect. That's not your job. That is not your job. Be smart about your decisions, of course. I always say, like, be smart. Don't do something reckless. But we also have to define what reckless is. Because I go back to my instance with me selling the house when I was getting a divorce. Now, if I didn't get a job, I could have used the proceeds from the sale for rent. That's a possibility. Okay. At the time, I was still in contact with my family. I could have lived with my mom and my dad for a few months if I had to. Not great, but there is something I could have done. So it wasn't like I had 2 small kids and I'm just being completely reckless. But as humans, we want things to go a certain way. Like, wouldn't have that been lovely? I get a job, I list the house, I sell the house, I buy something. We love this beautiful logical plan, though. We decide this is how it should go. But we don't get to decide. And the more we try to control it, the more you try to control it, the more all you do is you hamper the universe and you stall your progress. This is how you actually stay stuck. The way you quantum leap your life is when you do the thing before you're ready. Before you are ready, before everything is lined up, before you know all the answers. Okay, this is actually how you quantum leap. And this is the energy we are in right now. Universe is saying to you, what is it? And how can you start moving towards it? The first thing you got to do is decide. And here's the important part. Once you decide, you do your due diligence, you do your research, you do everything behind the scenes. I think it's important to say that because, like I said to you before, when I sold the house, when we decided to list the house when I was married, I knew all these things in the back of my mind, right? Before I made a leap. Now, you have your own risk tolerance, okay? I can't tell you what is risky or not what is risky, but I will keep saying this over and over again because it's worth repeating is when you want to create a life that you desire, you have to assess your relationship with risk. Because what we've been taught is risky is often just keeping us in a cage. It's actually not risky at all. We've been taught to control, right? We've been taught control in this work. Know the data, know everything, understand everything, make sure every move is calculated, make sure everybody will agree with you. La, 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 la. I can tell you till the cows come home. All the conditioning, all the programming, it's all control. It's all control. It's all it is. You can't control the universe. So why are you bothering to try? It's just exhausting. It's bloody exhausting. Start moving towards what it is you actually want and allow the universe to do its magic. Allow the energy to move and to switch and change and line up situations for you because it wants to. Okay? Choose you. This is the answer. This is what's being asked of you right now. All right, beautiful. So I'd love to hear your comments. Is this landing for you? Has something come up? Tell me what it is. Let's share it. Let's bring energy into it. Share what's the bold move? What are you ready to do? And start taking action. All right, I will see you in the next video. Take care.